How's it going, guys? Super excited to let you know about my top 16 core TCG treasure cup list with Ace. I have always wanted to top in a major tournament like that. This is my first time. The best I've ever done is 6-3, 60th place. And I've played in a lot of tournaments. Like it's probably over 10 at this point. A lot of treasure cups, a lot of regionals. And I don't do very well. I don't play a lot of like super meta leaders, and even when I do, I don't do super well. Usually, I'm very much like a top 128 guy. Like that's top 64 was always been like, oh, this has been a really good day, and I only hit that once, and I hit 6-3 in general twice. So to go 7-2 is a new achievement for me. I'm super happy, and I love how this deck played today. I had a great run. Thank you to everyone who was hanging out live with me on Twitch and YouTube and cheering me on and like celebrating the highs and cheering me up when I hit my lows. It was a great time. But I want to jump into the list. A lot of people were asking for it, and I didn't want to flash it up during the stream until the very end. So some people may have missed out when they were curious about it. Okay, here's our list. We went 7-2. Our two losses were to Red Purple Luffy and to Sakazuki, and I'll go into those into more detail after I kind of go through the full list. So to kick us off, we have, very surprisingly, I'm sure you're shocked, 4 Izos. This is still a Whitebeard Ace. Nothing too spicy, nothing too crazy. The 4 Izos are your searcher engine. They're a great play on turn 1. They're a great play on turn 2. And in general, in this meta, going wide is super beneficial. Like so having swings into Enel, into Sakazuki, like these are just good things. And they pair well with your Ace character, which can reduce the cost of things. So you can essentially remove things for free by swinging into it with an Izo. So it's a really good card. The other really good card, 3 Buggies. We run, I think, about 16 events. So Buggy doesn't have too many hits, but basically in your opening hand, you'll want a Buggy or you'll want an Izo to kind of get the ball rolling and get the pieces you want to really win the match. Next up, we have 1 Nico Robin. This is just a tech for Sakazuki. Nothing else. Really no reason to play this card outside of Sakazuki. If you don't see the Rebecca and the Robin to deal with it, then this is a 1k counter, which is great. Excuse me. So it can also work against Relay, but you're not really using it to remove big bodies most of the time. Next, we have one of our 2Ks and a major piece in our Ace puzzle, the Otama. So Otama can help reduce the cost of characters by 2,000, which puts things in range of Fire Fist, which puts things in range of Flame Emperor. So like really big part of our removal engine. And of course, a 2K when we need it. And as you can see here, we have 8 1Ks, which means Makino is actually pretty good in this deck. Makino is another 2K, and we can kind of play a bit of a Zoro playstyle here and use Makino to buff our Buggies, buff our Izos, and kind of go for surprise wins that way. I think I was able to go for game against someone today using, I think, 2 Makinos to buff up an Izo. So it's a really good card. And I think you can, as Ace, absorb some of the strong points of Zoro and use that against your opponents without taking on too much of the weaknesses that he has when he faces things like Enel. Next, to kind of tie the deck together a bit, we have 4 Dodons. So we have 8 1Ks, 4 more 1Ks. So we have 12 hits on Dodon in terms of 1Ks. So a lot to pull from. 16, the Otamas as well. So 16 hits the Dodon. I was like, 12 seems low. So Dodon's kind of like a bridge piece, which is how Zoro uses her, which is how Red Green Law uses her. It kind of gets us the other pieces that we want, specifically Otamas and Makinos, but sometimes the Searchers, so that we can kind of go wide and have a big hand in the subsequent turns. Now into kind of our bigger pieces. We got 4 Josus, another 2K. I played him once just because I had nothing else to play, but really it's just a 2K. Maybe you'll use him as a rush card if you're really desperate. So sometimes I'll hold on to him last so that I can play him if I need to when I'm kind of like considering which 2Ks to drop. But most of the time, just 2K, searchable by Izo. Very good for that reason. We have 3 of the 4-drop Marco the Blocker. Searchable by Izu, it's really good card, but I think it's a card that's gotten worse over time because now there's things like Amaru, which can rest it. Purple Luffy has Poly, he has like Top Knot, like all this stuff that makes 4-drop blockers like not as good. And Red doesn't have a really good 5-drop blocker like Queen or Sabo or stuff like that. So he, I think, struggles a bit more than he used to, but if he can stick, he's a great card. Really good into certain matchups. And, maybe a card I'd consider bringing down to 2. It just does feel bad having no blocker sometimes. So 3's been a good number for me. But if you're looking to tweak the list, I might consider looking here. Next, we have 3 of our 5-drop Marcos. amazing card. It's our removal engine. Like you can play Otama and then Marco to kill a 5k. You can use some of our other events to lower things even further. Play Marco, get like big value out of him, but very hard to kill. If Sakazuki doesn't have Houndblaze, it's really easy to like, or Porcelino, you can get a lot of value out of him. So because if he's KO'd, you can bring him back. Really great card. Good into yellow because he can be brought back. So overall, just like an amazing card to have, amazing card to see in your field, and searchable by ESO. So 3 is the number. And if you're asking why not 4, because we run a 1 of Sabo. Sabo is not searchable, but if you don't know what he does, he can KO up to 2 characters with a combined power of 4,000 or less. So with cards like Otama, with cards like our 7-drop Ace, with cards like Crossfire, which we'll see later, we can bring 2 big bodies into range with Sabo and kill him using that, which is really cool. If you're not doing that, you can just use this to kill Rebecca and like a brand new, which is really nice against Sakazuki. So another Sakazuki tech. Today, I didn't really see him as much. I also only saw, I think, 2 Sakazukis. If that's right. Yeah, I think I only saw 2 Sakazukis. So I didn't see him as much, and I didn't have a chance to play him as much. So maybe a card I'd consider bringing down. Like, I don't know if I need Nico Robin and Sabo, but I really, really like the Sabo. I used to have him at 2, but I had to take him out to make room for other cards that help a bit more into Uta. And so that's why he's a 1 of now. I really like him, but I can see why you might want to drop him if you play a list like this. Now, one of the best cards in the entire deck, 3 of the Ace. He wins you games. That's it. Like that's all you really need to know about him. Like by reducing cost of things, you can then swing into them with Buggy, with Ezo, with Dodon, and so you're basically removing big threats for free with these 1-drops that you played 3 turns ago. And you can also combo him with like other things to get like removal. So you can do like an Ace and a Robin, or you could do an Ace and like a Sequake, Ace and Fire Fist, all this stuff. So he's so good, and he has Rush. He's an amazing card. Why not 4? Because I don't run the 0 cost event, so it's just 1 more brick. I can see an argument for 4, but like 7, he's expensive at 7. Like you're not going to see him early game, whereas if you're going second, you can play Sabo, you can play Marco, you can do stuff like that. But if one of those cards was an Ace instead, your like mid turns aren't as good because you have to wait 1 more turn to play your big body, and then you're probably just like swinging with leader and maybe playing like a searcher or something, which isn't great. So 3 has been a good number. I see him every game. I don't see like I won't usually see 2 of him, and that's fine. I think seeing him once on curve is like the best, and beyond that, it's not super necessary to see more of him. Then 2 of our Edward Newgates, again searchable by Ezo. Again, a card that like it's really good to see, but you don't always want him, and so 2 is like the perfect number for me. If I see him in a search, I'll probably grab him. But otherwise, like if I don't see him, I have a lot of other things I can do. And then it's just like nice in certain matchups to be at 7k for 1 turn and then have this massive body to swing into leader with on the next turn. So he's really good at 2. I can see an argument for 1. I think 3 is pushing it, but I do believe there's like a degree of personal preference with Ace. Now into our events, we run 16 of them. So first one, a 1 of Sequake. Kind of pairs with Robin. It's just like cheap removal for Rebecca, stuff like that. But the added benefit here is that Sequake is 3,000 power or less and also has a really good trigger. So it's honestly just like a better card. If it wasn't for Dodon, I probably wouldn't even run the Robin. But because Dodon can find her and she's cheap and like a really easy way to get rid of Rebecca, it's worthwhile to run it in OP05. If Rebecca wasn't a thing, I would never run this card, I think. And I would just run 2 Sequakes. 4 of the Radical Beam. This is your defensive card. I don't know that I need to say too much on it. It's like really great. If you're at 2 life, it's 4k power for 1 Dawn. Like it's really, really amazing. It has to be 4 of because you don't have as many searchers for it. You have Buggy, obviously, but you want to see this card. It works really well with Ace and Newgate and stuff like that. It's just like a good card to have if you're going second. 1 of the Fire Fist, which if you don't know what this does, it basically does what Crossfire does without some of the, but it can't be used as a counter, so it doesn't have a counter effect. So on your main, you can reduce a character minus 4,000, and then if you have 2 or less life, you can KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with 0 power or less. So you can use this to reduce like a Lucci and then kill a Rebecca. If you're seeing a trend, I have 3 separate techs for Rebecca, which is kind of my one regret about this list. I kind of came into today a bit unprepared. I just finished a big move here in New York, and so I wasn't able to kind of test this deck out as much as I wanted. after having a really poor performance with it on the 5th or whenever that first treasure cup was this month. And so I made some changes to deal with Uta a little better. And I didn't really think about the fact that I have like 3 separate texts that are searchable by 3 different characters for Sakazuki. And I don't know if I loved it. So maybe Firefist goes down 1 and Sabo goes up. Maybe Sabo goes down and Robin goes up. Maybe Sabo goes down and Firefist goes up. I don't really know. I didn't get a chance to pull off this card. I did use it as like for the -4,000, which is why it's like okay to have. But I didn't use it to kill Rebecca. So there's that. And then when you don't see that card, you see 3 Crossfires, which basically do the same thing, but it's searchable by Izo and Buggy, and you can use it as a counter. So if you're playing a defensive game and you just need to stop a character from swinging, you can -4,000 that character on your turn, which is really nice. And then they both kind of have the same trigger. So good cards to have in life, good cards to... These cards are better Crossfire when you're playing defensively and you kind of need to counter out of stuff. And now some additions, last-minute additions to help deal with Uta. 2 Fire Fists. It's just great. You can combo it with Ace, you can combo it with Crossfire, you can combo it with Utama, and you can just punish Uta for going super wide, clear their board, and then, swing back and try to rush for game. Uta doesn't run as many 2Ks, so being aggressive and also clearing a board at the same time is really good. And then lastly, no surprise to anyone, 3 of the Flame Emperors. Amazing card. This card, like, demolished against Uta for sure. I actually didn't see it a lot in other matchups as much as I thought. I saw it a couple times in some of my matchups against yellow leaders, but I got 1 off life against the Sakazuki. That was great, but definitely not a card I saw consistently today, but it's still a card that did a lot of work, like really amazing. I think 3 is, again, perfect number. You see at least 1 a game most of the time. You're probably not going to see 2, but you don't really want to see 2. I think 1 is good. It's a 7-cost card. It's expensive. If you see 1 in life and 1 in hand, boom, like you're set. That's a great day because you can play it off life. But otherwise, it's a good card, and I think 3 is a good number because it gets searchable by Izo and by Buggy. So you'll find it. You'll almost always find it. Anyways, that is the list. Here we are, 50 cards that got me to 14th place in the Treasure Cup today, hosted by Core TCG. I'm really, really excited. If you came for the list, that's it. I will spend some time talking about my matchups really quickly while they're still fresh. And I'm sorry, I'm tired, so it may not be like super coherent or super clear, but I will try to be as concise as possible and try to remember everything as clearly as possible. The VODs from that entire tournament are up on Twitch and YouTube, so you can check those out and you don't have to guess. I had a really bad habit today of showing my hand the entire fucking time. So if you have a good idea of my thought process because you could see my hand in almost every single match I played. Like I got told it multiple times. There was a point when the judges who were watching me on like stream had to tell me, like I was on the big stream and they had to tell me to cover up my hand because I was just showing it. It's crazy. I am a buffoon, but it does mean that when you rewatch it, you'll kind of see what was in my hand. So maybe it makes it easier to understand my thought process and why I did things the way I did in those moments. So first 2 matches are against Enel, and I think one of the reasons you want to play Ace over Zoro is that you have a much better matchup into Enel. It's not, I don't think it's favored, but you have a lot more you can deal with. Like Ace can help you clear the board a bit. So when they go big with like a Dots, oh, holy, you can play Ace. Everything's reduced for the most part, and then you're swinging in with like Izo and Buggy, and you're clearing board for free, and they're using counter, and it's great. It's really, really good. You have Flame Emperor to kill Katakuri, and you can even kill Yamato. The one thing I'll say about like Enel and yellow in general is you got to be careful with Flame Emperor because you can have double attack, and you don't want to double attack into life and then have them hit 2 triggers and then you just lose on crackback. So it is absolutely fine against Enel to Flame Emperor and then use the 8K power that you have on leader to kill a character. I think that's so valid to kill like a Katakuri and then swing into a Gadatsu with Flame Emperor. Against Katakuri, you probably just want to go for life because you got to get them low and you got to risk it. But, try to understand that like if you lose based on triggers, like maybe don't play that Flame Emperor. But yeah, you have a much better time against Adele than Zoro does because of the cards like Ace and Newgate and Flame Emperor and Marco, which can help you basically punish them for not swinging with their characters and punish them for swinging with their characters. So best of both worlds. Plus we have a lot of defensive options and we can pitch our events as 1K counters. So we're doing pretty good. Third round was against, I believe that was my first Uta. Yeah, third round was Uta. I made changes for Uta and they worked out great. Like I think I saw Flame Emperor, I saw like an Ace, saw Fire Fist. I was able to basically just clear their board. They did get 8-drop Kid out, and I was able to kill it with an Ace and a Fire Fist combo. I did it weird and I fire fisted to kill a Brook and an Uta blocker, and then I used Ace to reduce the kid, and I swung into the kid multiple times when I could have just aced and then fire fisted the kid, but it was dead. I killed it, and then I won that match. It was almost a misplay, but thankfully it worked out. They didn't have enough counter, and yeah, I think the Fire Fist made a big difference. The Ace is obviously really good. Flame Emperor is really good in that matchup, and so just being able to punish them consistently throughout the match so that they don't get too big of a board and they can't just get you into like one life range and then just win with a big restand swing is really, really important. Fourth round was Sakazuki. That one was on the Core TCG stream. Good match. I won. I had a Flame Emperor off life that helped me like get a really punishing kill on a Lucci, and that honestly swung the game in my favor so much. But overall, like not too much to say. Like I think I saw all my pieces. They may have misplayed a little bit at the end because instead of putting up additional blockers, they kind of got greedy with a Mancherry and like got a Hina, and they used the Hina to remove something, and it wasn't worth it. They should have put up more blockers, but I actually managed just to win by swinging twice, once with the Dawn and once with Leader. So it was like a 9k, 11k, and then I was just done. So it was a good match. And then round 5 was, what was round 5? I'm blanking already. So I played the Sakazuki, and then I went into, it wasn't another Enel. Well, I didn't see any purple Luffys. What did I play around 5 and 6? How am I blanking? Did I play another Sakazuki at some point? Wow. Sorry guys, I am blanking. It's like 9:30 p.m., so I'm blanking out on my matchups. If I remember at the end of the video, I'll go back to it. But round 7 was the first round I lost. It was a red purple Luffy. He played really, really well. Honestly, I think I didn't play super well. I was a little nervous because at that point, this is like the best I'd ever done, like 7 or 6-0. Like I was doing so good. I was like really close to a Shanks, and the nerves got to me a little bit. And he just had a good game. Like he saw, I think, 3 Radical Beams and 2 Thunderbogwas, and so I just wasn't able to break through. And yeah, I didn't have it. He had it. I think it's just how it goes sometimes. And it was a close match, and I think he ended up doing pretty well. He got like 17th. So all's well that ends well. I managed to squeeze through in the end. And I think I have some regrets about that game, but you know, sometimes you just don't play well, and sometimes your opponent plays better than you, and that's also what just happened. I could have probably made some different choices, picked up some different cards off searches, and then that would have skewed the game differently. He got a lot of value out of a new gate that I wasn't able to remove, and I never saw mine, so it was kind of tough to compete. Next round felt really bad. I played against a Sakazuki, and I just saw nothing. They played 3 Kuzans, and I removed 2 of them. And so they had like a Kuzan, and then I killed it, and they had another Kuzan, and I killed it, and they had another Kuzan, and I killed it. And that's just so much value to be able to draw a card every time you're playing the body, but then also the fact that the Kuzan's basically getting everything into Houndblade's range for free. It was insane. And then I saw Ace and Newgate, but I didn't see any of my mid-tier pieces. Like I didn't see Marcos, I didn't see Sabo, I didn't see Flame Emperor until the very end, I didn't see Fire Fist. And it was like really, really painful because of that. And so that match just felt bad. It was like really one-sided. You could watch it in the VOD. Like I don't think there was anything I could do there. I just got totally wiped, and I think that was not reflective of the deck. It was not really reflective of my best playing. I think Sakazuki's a little more favored than that, and he played it kind of greedy. Like he was not countering out of anything. He kind of saw that I wasn't playing big bodies, and so he just took every hit. So he had like a 10-card hand, and he was just doing all this stuff, like 5 cards on the board, like total stop, not even close. So the round 8 was another loss too. And then round 9, I managed to claw it back. I beat a Whitebeard. I just saw all my stuff like on curve. Like I saw Ace on curve. I saw Newgate on curve before he did. It was really, really nice. And I was able to kind of take it pretty handedly. I think I won in like 20 minutes. I wasn't super concerned. It did get a little scary because he played an ace, and then I played an ace to kill his ace, and then he played an ace to kill my ace. So that got a little scary. But other than that, like I managed to get him down enough that I swung for 17. He only had 15. So, you know, maybe if there was a little bit more counter in his hand, I would have lost. Overall, though, I managed to break through, and that was 7-2. That was my win. So yeah, I do not remember for the life of me what my round 5 and 6 was. I saw only 2 Enels. I think maybe there might be a Sakazuki in there that I'm forgetting. I don't think I saw anything super off meta. I didn't see any Katakuris. I didn't see any Zoros. I didn't see any Purple Luffys. I didn't see any Sakazuki. I didn't see any Enels. I didn't see any Sakazuki. I didn't see any Zoros. I didn't see any Katakuris. I didn't see any Katakuris. I didn't see any Zoros. I didn't see any Purple Luffys. Yeah, I will have to go back through the VOD and see what my matches were. But yeah, that's roughly it. That's the deck list. That's the matchups. Overall, it went really good. I think if you're someone who plays Zoro, maybe give Ace a look. I think you'll have a better time into Enel, which kind of increases your overall win rate, and you have, I think, a better day. Pretty good into, I think, into Purple Luffy as well. I just didn't see him today. The one matchup I really don't like is Katakuri, which I happen to dodge all day, which feels really good. So overall, like really, really happy with the day. Like this is the best I've ever done. My highest placing before this was 60th, and so this is huge. I'm like so excited. I'm so excited. And thank you so much to everyone that was chilling in the chat throughout this. Like people hung out the entire tournament or most of it, and it was just like so nice. Like every time I misplayed, like everyone was like super chill and like telling me like, oh no, you got this. Like they got lucky. Like you got the next one. Like don't let it get to your head. Like you're gonna go 7-2. So I really appreciate everyone who was hanging out. And if you're one of those people, thank you so much. It was awesome. It made this like a really fun tournament and very memorable for me. I will absolutely remember this for a very long time. My first like real top placement in a very competitive tournament. And it was a really great time. It was like probably my most active stream ever. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And I appreciate you guys. And I had a great time. And I hope this list is fun for you guys. And I hope you can take it to your locals and do well with it. If you're making interesting tweaks, let me know, because I think there's still some ace left in me. So if he's got play. So if there's stuff you think that make this a lot better, let me know, because I'm not the best deck builder. I'm not a pro. I'm not winning tournaments every time. I have no Shanks or Luffy's under my name. So we'll open to advice and community feedback. Really curious what you guys are cooking with. And thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good one.